Greetings, YouTube. I've mentioned in the past that Batman is one of my favorite characters. And even though I love the character of Batman and the mythology that has grown up around him and the numerous different versions that have developed over the years, Batman is an emotional cripple. He's insane. He is a prime example of someone that did not receive the kind of therapy he should have at the age when the trauma took place, and then never received any at a later date to help him process what happened to him, and then he could move on and become a healthy, productive member of society. So I found myself contemplating what would happen if Bruce Wayne had received what he should have received. Now remember, he's just inherited a huge fortune. He's got a man as his guardian, Alfred, who loves him to death and is there to support him 24/7. One of the wealthiest human beings on the planet, even as a child. So he's got access to the best of everything. So he gets the best cognitive behavior therapist there is. And I'm basing the following on my personal experiences and what I've read about it. So all of this is in the realm of the possible. That cognitive behavior therapy could have helped Bruce Wayne as a child and as a teen, as an adult, to move through the stages of grief and coping and to learn the skills that he needed to become a fully functioning adult, as opposed to an emotional, crippled, vengeance-fueled madman. So, at the time in the storyline, the history, his personal history, where he wanders off and gets all the training he needs to become Batman, we're going to say he's still in kind of an existential crisis. You know, that kind of post-college, doesn't really know what he wants to do kind of thing. Hasn't really decided to become the leader of the corporation. He's got his MBA and probably another couple of degrees because, you know, he is a genius in, you know, every way, shape, and form. He is Batman still. So he wanders off, just disappears. I love the scene in the Nolan film where Bale trades his coat with the bum in the street, the homeless guy, and then wanders off into the night. And he comes back. I think it's like 7 years, which is, you know, a significant number from, you know, like 7-year journey kind of thing. And he comes back 7 years later, a changed man. But in this case, he's a Zen Buddhist, a vegan. He has practiced and mastered martial arts, but Aikido, a soft form of using your enemy's energy against them. Nothing hard. No hits, no strikes, no breaks, nothing. Holds and movement and flow. He practices Jikon, Gong. He is the quintessential man of peace, centered and healthy and focused. So he decides that he's going to change the direction of Wayne Corporation. They are going to abide and honor all the contracts they have with the military, but they're not going to renew any of them, and they're not going to take any new ones. Instead, he's going to focus on things like renewable energy, public transportation, energy-efficient vehicles that do the job better with less, consumer goods that can be deassembled for recycling later as opposed to just scrapping them, new methods of developing materials that are more efficient, bio-aware, that would allow things to be grown. The concepts of like the golden rice. So all these things, but he's not going to patent them. He's going to give them to the world. And he changes the direction of the company completely. He uses some of his personal fortune to provide homeless shelters and soup kitchens, education centers, re-education centers, because the economy in Gotham City is in a shambles. He begins to make sure that no one in the city of Gotham is hungry or homeless without health care and education. He does the things that will actually make crime fall. Instead of going out and punching people. You know, smacking Joe Chill again and again and again, metaphorically, because he couldn't when he was a child. Because he had that impotent fear and rage that he had to stand there and watch his parents die. He's moved past that. He's assimilated it. He's processed it. He is whole and centered. And he is a functioning human being. He meets a woman who has similar beliefs as him. They marry. They have a couple of kids. They adopt 4 more, 2 of them special needs. The Wayne Manor is full of life. It is a center where people come, volunteers come to help him do the things that he has to do to help change the world. And as Gotham improves, and the economy in Gotham improves, because he's investing in the infrastructure of that city when the city cannot, he spreads out. He begins to help the state he is in, wherever Gotham is. He begins to help the America, and then he begins to help other places. Not just handouts, but working with other countries and other organizations to make sure that these changes are long-lasting and permanent and deep. And after 30 years of doing this, and he has no signs of stopping, but after 30 years of doing this, he wins the Nobel Peace Prize. He is lauded as on the same level as Gandhi. And that is what Bruce Wayne could do with his education, with his genius, with his fortune, with his industry. He could change the world. And instead of punching Joe Chill again and again and again, he could change the world. Arkham Asylum would become a place of healing thanks to him. The Joker may never leave because of who he is, but he will be a calmer, happier individual. He will not be the danger he is, nor will any of the others that exist out there. He will help rehabilitate those that can be rehabilitated, moving them back into society. He becomes a force for good and change and the world as he wanted it to be in that moment when his parents died, and he didn't want the world like that. He wanted a better, more positive world where no one ever has to worry about their parents, their children, being killed over something pointless like a robbery. That is a cool character. Not going to make a riveting comic book. Not going to make a nice franchise of action films. But it's going to change the world. It's going to be something that will be remembered forever as a positive. That there will be people that burn incense in his memory forever. They will speak his name in reverence. He will be elevated to the level of saint. And he will deserve every single accolade, even though his ego is almost completely gone. Vapor in the wind. He doesn't want those accolades, but he'll have them regardless. Because he'll have earned them. And his children, and his grandchildren, and his great-grandchildren will help change the world. A few may fall by the wayside, but the rest will help and build and expand. And Wayne Industries will be stable, and it will be a force for good in the future. That, to my mind, is what Bruce Wayne should have been. But he wasn't, because in comics, there are no therapists. Everybody has to keep punching that thing inside their head that haunts them. But what's in here is often in your way. When you move it aside, you will be stunned how much space you have, how much room you have to breathe. to look around you and not be afraid. To be able to feel the rhythm of the world about you in a way you had never experienced before. It's pretty darn awesome. Bruce Wayne deserves that. Like I said, not going to make a riveting comic book. So tell me, what do you think should happen in a world where superheroes have access to therapists? Where superheroes use their skills and abilities to make real, tangible changes in the world, as opposed to just the four-color variety that may be entertaining, but ultimately are wasted.